Hey guys, so I have match 3 of this season of Grand Arena for you. It's 3v3, and this one is pretty interesting. I think I was a little, I don't want to say outmatched. I am the smallest in my pod this week, which was pretty interesting. It's never happened for me yet. And so we went out swinging. I changed my defenses up, so I definitely want to show you that, and we'll get into it, and then we'll just see what happens. It is going to be just me kind of rehashing my thoughts. I was all over the place today doing my attacks, so it's just completely scattered and there's no actual live commentary, but I will give you my thoughts of what I did and why, and then we can recap at the end like usual. So let's just go have a look and see what we've got. All right, guys, so my opponent this round is Yesik. He has roughly 700,000 lifetime banners, so not overly more competitive than me, and is 8.6 million GP, so he is a little bit bigger. And he does have all 6 Galactic Legends and Star Killer, Shocker, all of the toys that we get to go up against as per usual. So definitely a little worried just because of Lord Vader. Don't really know what to do there in terms of my offensive plan. But defense-wise, I've changed it. He has obviously already attacked. Fleet's the same, Executor, Thrawn, Negotiator, nothing too crazy there. But I did tweak a couple of things on the ground. So up top, I left pretty much everything the same. I did remember this time to pull Wedge off of my Mon Mothma team, just so that I would at least be able to use him with Han and Chewie if I needed to, and then left everything else there. And then in the front zone, I ended up pulling my Traya squad, left Cam and Qui-Gon there, but I did put Rey down with Holdo and L3, which he's obviously already attacked. And then left everything else kind of the same. And then in the back, I did move my Traya squad here. I left Maul, CLS. Didn't really change too much here. I wanted to leave it pretty tough for him. And I just moved Traya here anyway, just to kind of, move my squads around a little bit. So I did keep Nute for offense this time. Okay, so his defenses, we've got CLS, Padme, Darth Revan, no Malak here, which is worth noting, I think. And this is Ahsoka on the Padme team. I did want to double check that it wasn't Cat. And then we have a Nute Separatist team with L3 and Shaak with random clones. So overall, kind of interesting, not too worried about Shaak, but definitely intrigued. And then in the bottom, we get all of the fun stuff. So Rex with Echo, Bad Batch Echo and 5s, and then a JTR squad, Lord Vader, no Maul, which is huge for us. We do have a Maul Mando squad, and then we have Rey, which is great, because as we saw last time, I failed hard here, which is awesome. So let's start. So the first team I figured I would go after would be Lord Vader. I wasn't sure what to do in threes here. I thought I would take JMK originally. And then Zero just told me to use my bounty hunters. And I've never done this other than Territory War, which is completely different because you're using Dad Bod. But I've never done Fennec lead against Lord Vader. It terrifies me. I wasn't even sure really what to start with. But I figured I would try this because if it didn't work, then at least I would know right away that it was going to fail. And I would be able to hopefully fix my mistakes after the fact. So clearly he's gonna go first, which is great, and he dazed everybody. I was thinking I wanted to get Royal Guard out of there ASAP, and I did decide to cleanse here just because everybody was dazed, and I wasn't gonna be able to get any assists, so I really wanted to just do that. And then I figured I would just keep basicking and going after Royal Guard and get her down ASAP, hopefully. And of course, Vader here made me really nervous when he went into Merciless Massacre, but they seem to hold their own. My Bosk and Grief are only Relic 5, which was pretty impressive that they weren't getting totally wrecked here. And then again, just went straight for Darth Vader, to get rid of him, so that he wasn't going to, keep ability blocking me or anything like that. Wanted to cleanse the daze off of me again, and got super annoyed when Darth Vader ended up having some healing there. But he is done. So then we're just down to Lord Vader. So this felt pretty smooth. With Fennec here, I did choose to use her special just to get some armor shred on Lord Vader. But other than that, it was really straightforward and just kind of going after him, trying to keep the dots off of me and surviving long enough basically to get him down. I think the only reason I felt comfortable here is because Maul wasn't on the team, to be honest with you, but we got it and it's done. So with one Galactic Legend done, I figured the next best course of action would be to go after Rey, the only other one. And I learned my lesson from last time. I wasn't going to mess around, and I'm just going to take C and Watt. And, you know, hopefully this works as well as it did last time. I didn't want to mess around with Kenobi or Luke. Luke obviously really failed me. But I didn't want to waste Kenobi if I didn't have to. So I figured I would just use C again. So obviously I'm going to link Holdo and R2 here. And then just try to whittle them down. It honestly completely slipped my mind here that R2 would smokescreen. I was a little frustrated about that. I didn't want to hit Rey if I didn't have to. Thankfully, Holdo started taunting. Watt died as per usual. And then I could just kind of focus on the sides whenever, you know, R2 didn't screw me over here. This was probably the most frustrating thing when he smokescreened and you only had the option to hit Rey. And then here, obviously, I'm just relinking again to get my retribution back because she is going to do her ult. And that hurt. I was really scared once she had knocked that much health and protection off of me. Thankfully, I was able to get some protection back as we kind of kept going. But it really made me start panicking and that I wanted to get my ult as soon as possible. Just to kind of at least get rid of the sides. And you can see she's just still whirlwinding. So perfect timing here. They're dead, which is fantastic. And then I can start healing with C. And honestly, she almost killed me. This was really nerve-wracking. I don't enjoy this, I don't think. I mean, it works, but I don't like it. It's too anxiety-inducing, I think. This is just too crazy, especially like when she can knock you so close to death. But it worked, so I should probably not complain, I guess. All right, so both Galactic Legends are done. I chose to look at Echo just to see how fast he is. 354 is not nothing to joke around about, and I wasn't totally sure, honestly, here what would work. But I had looked at the .gg counter from the last 3v3 season because Echo would have been around for that, and it did say that Jedi Knight Revan, Yoda, Grandmaster Yoda, and Jolie would work. And I wasn't too sure if I would need them elsewhere, but I figured why not try it? Obviously, Echo is still faster than them, but we can cleanse all of these debuffs pretty much right away, which is great, and go straight for them. I kind of thought initially I wanted to get around 5s to go for Echo first, just to kind of stop him from putting all of the debuffs back on me, which is why I chose to mark him here. And I'm realized after the fact that I probably should have just chosen to get rid of 5s right away, because 5s would eventually just keep taunting again anyway, and I probably wouldn't be able to chew through Echo fast enough. So I kind of regret doing that, to be honest, and I think it would have made more sense because you can see here he's already lost his mark and 5s again is taunting. So it probably would have made more sense just to go straight for 5s, chew through him, and then go for Echo because he is getting to put debuffs on me again, which sucks. And Rex obviously triggered the Savior, which is also super annoying. And clearly I did not choose to listen to the doubts that I was having and just chose to mark Echo again. But thankfully he is getting pretty far down there, and we should be able just to kill him and then kill 5 so that Rex doesn't get all of his extra speed and health and all that fun stuff from his sacrifice. And then I think that if I had killed 5s first, it maybe would have been a little smoother here, because Rex just gets to kill Jedi Knight Revan, which sucks for banners. But it did work. I probably misplayed it, and I do think I probably should have killed 5s first instead. But I've never really faced that team before, so I'll take it. Maul, I just figured I would use Kenobi and Cat. I did not want to mess around with Maul. I don't have gas. I don't have CLS. I mean, I have Han and Chewie, but I really just did not want to mess around here. And I kind of thought that maybe this would be an okay option. And I figured, why not just get rid of Armorer before she does anything to boost them? Like, Cat and Kenobi are going to hit pretty hard anyway, so I might as well just kill her before she has a chance to put any of that Beskar on any of them, and boost them up. So obviously went straight for Maul, and then Bo was just hanging out by herself, and it was really straightforward, and we got the win. So that was a ton of fun, and I think that was the right call there. And then we just have this lovely JTR team left to chew through. So because there is the bros on this team, I really didn't want to mess around and try anything too crazy. So I figured the safest option was just to go in with Wedge, Han, and Chewie. And this way I would at least be able to kill Finn right away. And then hopefully just kind of slow them down after I did that. So I think this probably was the best call, just given what I had set on defense and what I had available for offense. I didn't want to burn another Galactic Legend. So I think using Wedge, Han, and Chewie here was probably the right decision. I was pretty confident I wouldn't need them up top. Obviously no idea what to expect in the back, but it worked pretty straightforward and flawlessly, I would think. And clearly it's over, so we're good. We can go have a look now and see what's in the back and see if I'm totally screwed. But overall, I was really excited just to get through the front zone without any dropped battles. So we've got a Grievous Droids team. Qui-Gon is there, Iden, First Order, and then another Resistance team, another Finn team. Some interesting teams, then obviously some tougher ones like Qui-Gon and Iden. So we'll see what happens. All right, so I want to go to the top zone because I want to get to ships. This is my goal. If I can't clear the back, I at least want to get to ships. And I'm going to start by going against CLS, Chewie, or Chewpo and 3PO. And I used this team last time. I felt pretty comfortable with it, so I chose to use it again. Was really hopeful that I wasn't going to need Jedi Knight Luke anywhere else. But it seemed to work pretty smoothly. And I didn't want to shoot myself in the foot here. So obviously letting Chewpo take all of the turns, and then I do really enjoy opening with Jedi Knight Luke special just so I can give him all of the turn meter and then stun everybody. And I wanted to get Foresight up just for once when CLS came out of his stun. I did choose to taunt with Old Ben this time instead of doing the ability block first, which I think was the right call, because now that they're not stunned, I could at least make sure they were ability blocked and could only basic. And I think that was the right decision to do. I probably will continue to do that, honestly, moving forward. And then it's great. Once Chewpo is down, we just go straight for CLS and it's over. It's fantastic. Love it. Okay, so that was probably one of the scarier teams up top. But I obviously have a Darth Revan team to chew through, which I am going to do next. There's no Malik. So I figured what I would do is just double check everybody's potency, because I think I want to Wampa this. Like I said, there's no Malik, so I feel like it's safe. Obviously, he's still going to land fear on me. But I think this should work. So my Wampa has 143% tenacity or something like that. So we do get fear, or not fear, whatever it is, his stupid little debuff. But he's still able to counter, and it's pretty straightforward. I think Talon is probably the trickier part in this, just because, I mean, I was able to kill Bastilla, but I wanted to kill Talon next, and obviously Wampa's going to counter, so he just kills Darth Revan anyway, and then he comes back with Talon there. So I really wish that I could have killed Talon first, but as you can see, it's pretty straightforward and not really an issue. So really happy that this ended up working. I did want to finally get to try Wampa on something other than Iden or Grievous, so I'm glad I got to do it there. All right, so the next team that I was thinking was probably the scariest one to deal with would be Padme. I wasn't totally sure what would work here, to be honest, but I thought maybe this could do it. I wasn't too sure where else I was going to use them, honestly, so I figured if I could just fracture Padme, and then I could maybe get rid of Mace or Ahsoka or anybody, it would be okay. And then, so we went into Merciless Massacre, and I just kind of started hitting everybody. Mace was particularly easy to chew through, which was great. And I think having the dots on everyone honestly did help. I was able to get through them pretty quickly, and then it was just Padme left at the end. So this was definitely the right call, I think. All right, so we just have two teams left up top. So we're going to deal with Nute, I believe, next. So I didn't really know what the best case scenario would be here, because Jango would obviously have damage immunity, L3 was going to taunt, Nute's just going to die and come back and be in stealth. And I kind of figured, you know what, I might as well just use a Galactic Legend and make sure I can get through it. And I figured I wanted to split them this way just in case I needed to use Bastilla or GK or anything like that elsewhere. So yeah, I figured this would be the best case scenario. Ayla would be great because she obviously has her stun on basic. And yeah, I just wanted to chew through them as quickly as possible. One-shotting L3 there was absolutely amazing. This probably was one of the more annoying things, Jango having damage immunity and then me being an idiot and hitting him anyway. But the great thing is that Nute has obviously died once, so we can just keep going after him. And then we can go straight for Jango, which is great. Definitely think this was okay. I honestly don't know what I would have used otherwise. Maybe Wedge, Han, and Chewie. Maybe. But not totally sure. All right, so just Shaak left, and I figured I did save GK and Ahsoka, which was great, and I have Padme, so I kind of just decided I would do some kind of halfway Padme team. There's no Anakin, of course, because he's on defense, but I figured this would work. The plan here is just to go straight for Shaak, because every time you hit the clones, she's going to gain turn meter. So I just wanted to get rid of her as quickly as possible, which, you know, can be annoying with her healing and regenerating protection and all that fun stuff. But the really great thing here is because he chose to put these two clones, Cody and Clone Sarge, with her, they don't have a taunt, so I could just focus on her anyway. And then after that, once she was dead, it was just honestly hit whoever the weakest one is and go for it. Pretty straightforward. I think Padme worked here really nicely. I think Padme honestly might be one of my new favorite teams, which is odd to say because she's not that new. Okay, so let's look at fleets. Thrawn, Raddus, and Home One. So there's no Executor here, which did surprise me. But this is great. I can work with this, and I think I can one-shot this, which is fantastic. But first, we're going to go deal with the bottom zone, because I want to get through those squads. So, like I said, there's no Galactic Legends back here. Qui-Gon is super pain, and I just figured, you know what? Let's use a Galactic Legend and just turn off his Omni, and then I can kill Anakin right away. Feels like a cheat, but it is what it is. And I just chose to take Special Forces TIE Pilot just in case. I didn't think I would need him, but I wanted another body. And then, honestly, as soon as I got in here and I stunned Anakin, obviously I'm just going to kill him first because that part of the Omicron is turned off. I remembered that I specifically kept Nute for offense for this team. And I did not need to burn Kylo here. I could have tried Nute. So I am a little bit frustrated that I forgot that. But at least we got through it and it kind of worked okay. But I definitely want to try Nute there next time. All right, so obviously we've gotten rid of one team here. Iden is probably the next one that is going to make me a little bit worried. So I'm just going to go after her. Normally I would Wampa her, and clearly that's not an option. So I thought maybe this could be an option. Maybe. I don't know. I figured at this point, like I'm through to ships. I'm happy to just try it, was my thought. So obviously she went first because she has her Omicron. We're still going to put the mark on Dark Trooper. And then I kind of didn't know who I should kill first. I figured Stormtrooper was going to be taunting anyway, so I would just hit him. And then he just is so thick, guys. Just so hard to chew through. But thankfully, we at least killed Magma Trooper. So I felt a little bit better about that. And then this was when I started to feel bad. We're not even in a minute in, and I'm already starting to not feel that confident. Just watching Stormtrooper heal over and over again every time you hit him was awful. This was probably when I felt like this was not a good idea and not going to work. So clearly just putting the mark back on Dark Trooper, and then I figured I would just try to keep him dazed if I could with the AoE. Just try and chew through him, and we're once again back to full health and protection, which is fantastic. So I guess I'm not really chewing through him very well. And yeah, so I don't think I would do this again, to be honest with you. Do not recommend. But I don't know, it was good to try, I guess. So clearly this is where it's just gonna go downhill. So Dark Trooper's dead. But because he died, Piet's gonna hit a little bit harder, like a tiny bit harder. And then Veers is just barely hanging on. I chose not to mark him and then just kind of keep going, and then Veers died. So I figured this would be the best case scenario, just try and keep them dazed. And Piet just kind of kept going. He's obviously Relic 8 because he had to be to get Executor. But nothing really that fancy on him, to be honest, in terms of modding. And then I just kind of kept using the AoE, which is just kind of stupid, to be honest with you. Not stupid to use it, it's just stupid that this is dragging on for so long. We're 3 minutes in here, and I cannot chew through Stormtrooper, and for whatever reason, they're just not chewing through Piet either. Even with the expose, like, this is just silly. So chose to do the AoE again, and Stormtrooper is dead. So like, I seriously don't know how that even worked, but do not recommend. I don't think I'm gonna do that again, even though it worked. Terrible banners. Still, do not recommend. Not again. All right. So now we have this random resistance team, and honestly, I figured that like my Geos could probably handle this. Like, they're not relicked other than Brood. But I mean, I was thinking I would be able to dispel, I'd be able to ability block. As long as I could get rid of Scavenger Ray, then I would be okay in terms of damage. Like, Poe's not going to hit you very hard. Obviously, Finn is going to be ramping, but Scavenger Ray is going to hit you fairly hard from the get-go, depending on how she's modded. So I chose to just try to spread the ability block out if possible. I didn't want Scavenger Ray using her big hit, and obviously I can't land an ability block to save my life. But finally we got one. And since she was in the yellow, I just figured I would go after her anyway, and she is dead. So then again, I just wanted to try and get ability block on both of them, just to kind of keep it pretty clean if possible. But once Scavenger Ray was dead, I felt pretty good, to be honest with you. She was my biggest worry. If she could one-shot the Brute, then they could get to the rest of the Geos, obviously. But overall, pretty straightforward. Definitely pretty happy about this, trading Gear 12 characters in to get rid of this team. And I think this was the right call. I did have a misplay here at the end. I should have healed here instead of using the basic. I should have just healed and got a few banners back, but it's fine. And Finn is dead. Probably should have healed right there as well. So, lessons for next time. All right, so now we've got Grievous and Kylo left. I have no idea what to use here. I'm going to go after Grievous first. I genuinely have no idea if this is going to work. My thought process here was if I could hit my contract, I could theoretically just disintegrate somebody with Mando. So I did swap out Jango to take Zam just for the bonus speed. But yeah, I kind of was just hoping that I could get to the contract. There's obviously, I knew that I would be able to go for B2 fairly quickly to get the contract going. And I was just hoping that I could just get through this, get my contract, and then hopefully I could just disintegrate Grievous. And it seemed like it was going kind of okay. A little bit. And then, they killed Mando the first time, which had me a little bit worried. And then Zam was gone. So once Zam was gone, we had a problem. And then obviously just hitting the B1 and ability blocking. And then Mando was dead. So I knew this was going to go nowhere pretty quickly. But I was hoping that I would be able to kill Grievous there, except that now obviously I can't get around that marked. So I feel like it was close. I think, honestly, this might have worked a little bit cleaner or came more closely if Zam was relicked. Maybe. But I don't know if I want to test it again. All right, so now we just have a lone Grievous to clean up, which isn't super awesome. But I do have leftover resistance that I could just take in. And, I mean, he isn't going to put marked on anyone because he's alone. So I figured this would work. I would be able to land some exposes. Scavenger Ray is going to do most of the work, to be honest with you. And we would be good. So Grievous is done. So I did have to two-shot it, but at least he's dead, and it worked. All right, so now we have this crew team left, and crew is so annoying to kill. So I thought maybe I would try Grievous. And then I figured like, oh, I could take B1 here instead. And then I thought to myself, well, what if I took Magna Guard and saved B1? And then I was like, well, why don't I just take Separatists? Like, why don't I just try Nute here and see what happens? And take Nute, B1, and Jango. And I honestly don't know if I should have taken Grievous instead. I really did forget that KRU was just going to start stunning everybody. But it seemed okay. So I figured I would at least get some burning going and then get the extortion out there. And hopefully it would be quasi-okay. Excuse me. Obviously, the retribution from Kylo is going to be the biggest thorn in my side here because I need to use B1's AoE to heal. And his retribution is just not helping. So that was probably the most annoying thing. I felt like no matter what I did to heal, it was just getting wiped off of me right away with the counterattacks. But I was really happy that I could kill Red Trooper first, just because I knew he would probably wipe my team out with one shot. And then it went pretty sideways. Once I was stun locked here, it was over. There was no hope for me, sadly. So I don't know if Grievous would have been the better plan, to be honest with you. I don't think it would have. I don't know what I would have used differently. But obviously I have to clean it up, and I figured, why not take Grievous? Because I didn't take you the first time. So pretty straightforward. I was a little bit, I don't want to say more comfortable, but happier that Red Trooper was dead here. So it was a little bit easier maybe. But I figured I would just target lock and just hopefully use Grievous to kind of get them down as quickly as possible. And they obviously are ridiculous. Thankfully, KRU is not taunting here. I wanted to get rid of OG Kylo. Just because he's the one that is a pain in the ass. And then obviously KRU is just non-stop and my guys are dying. But it worked. So I'm curious if it would have worked, honestly, the first time. I don't know. To be honest with you. I don't know if I should have done that. But it's dead. So all of the squads are done and we just have fleets left, which is fantastic. And I'm feeling really confident about the fleets. Okay, so we're going to do Thrawn first. And I immediately know that I want to use my Malevolence here. I'm going to take Sunpack in the starting lineup with the Geos off the bench. And then I like to just take TIE Fighter anyway. So I'm basically taking the Executor counter almost. But I like to just have the Imperial TIE Fighter there just for whatever, I don't know, just as a backup. So yeah, so super straightforward. I did do the AoE to open and get offense down. Obviously, I have to target the TIE Bomber first since he's taunting, but I do want to get rid of TIE Bomber as quickly as possible. And that is a really fast reinforcement. But at least I could stun him. Want to get the buzz droids out there. I really want to get some assists going from these vulture droids. And I just need to chew through this TIE Bomber. Like, this TIE Bomber is the bane of my existence here. So we're going to bring in Spy and get the Force Taunt. And I figured since Vader was pretty low, his protection was off already, I would just get rid of him as quickly as possible and then go back to TIE Bomber afterwards. And he's obviously still taunting. The buzz droids being on him is really helpful here just to get the assists. And he is dead. So next I wanted to go after the shuttle and just get rid of him. And then I basically just had the interceptor left. And then of course they brought in their reinforcement, which is irritating. So going straight for him pretty much right away. Pretty straightforward. I felt like this fleet is still a little dicey for me. such a fast ult. Like that interceptor ship just ruins things. But at least it's over. At least it's over, guys. So 64, it's not the prettiest. Obviously that ult really hurt, but it'll do. Okay, so then we have the Home 1 fleet. I am going to use Finalizer on it. I'm pretty comfortable using Finalizer against Rebels. It sounds weird to say. It feels like Rebels just feel like Finalizer food. And I figured I would take Consular just for some protection if needed, but pretty straightforward. So I don't actually know if this is the correct thing to do, so someone correct me. I like to just mark the Falcon, or hunt the Falcon, sorry. And again, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but we'll see. So pretty straightforward. I'm going to hand the turn to Silencer, and I'm just going to do the big hit when he had advantage. I want to get rid of these guys as soon as possible. And I'm just going to hand the turn to him again. And obviously I can only basic this time. And then we're just going to do the mass assist and big hit, and that should get rid of bigs. Perfect. So we have one tank down. Just need to go to this other one here. And then I'm going to bring in the Special Forces TIE Fighter just so I can call the assist with Silencer. Basically going to have Silencer do all of the work for me, if possible. All right, and I'm going to take turn, give it back to Silencer, Shocker, and big hit because he has advantage there. And calling Silencer again, and that gets rid of the second tank. So now we just have Biston left before we can start hitting the Falcon. And it's pretty straightforward. It just hits so hard. And then I'm going to hand the turn to Silencer again, and it's over. This is, honestly, I'm really liking the Finalizer fleet. It's a ton of fun. Okay, so then we have Raddus, and I'm just going to use Rebels here. I'm pretty comfortable using Rebels against Raddus. It seems pretty straightforward. So I like to do the double tank to start because my Biston is still trash. I am working on him, but yeah. And then I just took 3 reinforcements. So we've got the Phoenix ship. I like to take Cassian, and then I took Wedge as my third. Pretty straightforward. I would love to get Biston into this fleet. I need to gear them. They're just not geared. All right, so I'm going to hit the Falcon because I always forget that I can. And then for whatever reason, I can't give you a reason why I chose to switch targets, but I did choose to switch targets. So we're going after Resistance Pilot first because reasons that I don't even know. And then obviously this bomber has come in, so I'm fully expecting it to taunt, which it is, and it's going to ruin so many of my plans. But bringing in the Phoenix ship, I think that one's Phantom. I honestly can't tell them apart. I can never tell which one's which or remember. I have to get rid of that bomber, obviously, first. And there are just so many dodges and evades on this team with all the foresight. It's actually ridiculous, but eventually we can chew through this bomber, please, and then get to the rest of the fleet. And then I like to bring Cassian in second to call for the assist, and we can finally get rid of bomber, and then we can go back to business as usual. So obviously killing my tank was not ideal, but I still have one, so I feel okay. It's not going to be the best banners, to be honest with you. I did choose here to end up removing the turn meter off of Falcon, and then the AoE, and at least the Falcon is dead. So I wanted to go after Poe next, just because he's got his big hit as well. And I figured if I could just get rid of him before he got it off, that would be better. And then I can just focus on the rest of the ships. obviously I don't have a choice here, so I have to hit the pilot, but it's pretty straightforward. Kind of grateful I brought in Wedge. I don't think it would have been do or die if I didn't have him as a reinforcement, but it was helpful, especially since that Battle B ship just died. So pretty straightforward though. And then this is it. Fleets will be done and one shot. So that is really great because it doesn't usually happen. So that's it, guys. All right, guys, so this is clearly where it ended. He did start attacking probably about half an hour or so before the round was going to be over and didn't make it super far. But he did go back. I'll just show you. So he did end up clearing out my Darth Revan team as well, and then preloaded the Hux team. I think he was just trying different things. Totally not totally for sure what the plan was, but I think it all ended up working in my favor, to be honest. I would have loved to see what the back wall would have done, but maybe we'll find that out next week. We'll see. Overall, I think this one was pretty good. I definitely forgot a couple of things. I wanted to try my Nute team. I specifically kept him on offense to try against Cam and Qui-Gon, and completely forgot that I had him for that reason. And I definitely want to try him next week because I know that some people are having a lot of success with that. So I definitely just want to stay more organized and still just wrapping my brain around 3v3 and what works. And it's really great to see that some things are still working, like bounty hunters against Vader. Obviously without Maul. With Maul, I would definitely probably not try that exact team. But overall, tons of fun in this match. Definitely wrapping my brain around it. And I'm pretty excited to see what happens next week. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for match 4.